Wake up, wake up. Yeah. Welcome. Good morning this morning. Welcome to the show, Early Morning Hustle. It's your boy Jersey J.
It's your boy Tbone.
We in the building.
Happy Friday to everyone.
Thank God it's Friday. We here. Hopefully you're here rocking out with us. You know, we tune in. We turn this down as we go. You know what I'm saying? We just vibing out. You know, thank God it's Friday. I'm glad to be here. You know, we was talking about the reason why we created the show, right? And I consider myself the inner city philanthropist. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that is on the verge of getting multiple degrees at the same time. We went back to college. Although we didn't finish college, we went back to college, and that's the reason why we created this show, because it's hard times out here.
It's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing one-on-one coaching and media training, and we created this narrative that we can do anything. Shout out to Rutgers University for giving us this opportunity. And you know, I'm just blessed to be able to do this every single day. And I'm here with Tbone, and we rocking out early in the morning. And this is Early Morning Hustles. And what we're trying to impact, right? We're trying to change homelessness. You know, the rate of college dropouts is at an all-time high. We're trying to get people to return back to college and get their education.
Facts.
And to also be able to create and control their narratives that they're in their communities and change the communities as we see fit. You know what I'm saying? So it's Flashback Fridays. Also, thank God it's Fridays. So, you know, we're going to keep it locked on a regular day. Shout out to Drop Top Harvey.
Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Memes, man.
Yeah, also, Rutgers University men's basketball team blew out Sacred Heart 88-50. And they 2-0 right now, so they grinding. And also, support Impact Universe, man. That brand, you know, we sponsored by Impact Universe. That's a brand that helps the homeless in need, and we've been giving out T-shirts since 2014, hoodies, hats, and gloves. We're getting ready for, Covenant House's night out, sleep out. Mm-hmm. And right now, yo, bro, this guy is like somebody else. I hate how somebody try to hit you with the good morning knowing that you're on. Yeah. But yeah, make sure you hit the Facebook or IMU Media and tune in live. You can tune in and you can comment and you can talk about the issues. Now, we going into the Minister Farrakhan put out a statement and he waited till everything was all over and commented that about the ridicule and the treatment of Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. Oh, boy. Everybody knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. And we see what's happening. What do you think about that?
I feel like the whole narrative is just ain't even right. Hey, it's one person say one thing and everybody get offended. Hey, is it that serious? Like, you want to ruin a man's career for him speaking his mind, and he didn't write the article. Come on, man.
He didn't do the movie.
Come on, man.
He ain't produce it. I got some other shout outs too. Shout out to Black Top Basketball Network, right? I have a big opportunity for anybody who's watching this. Stand up real quick so we can make this move. Thank you very much, because, you know, we're dealing with early in the morning. You know how it is. They try to shut us down. Yeah. But early this morning, Black Top Basketball Network started their network. And we're looking for 25 shows, sports-related, news-related, media-related, documentaries and series. Anybody who wants to create or has a sizzle, has something or an idea, this is your opportunity to join me and help build a network. Also, the IMU network is looking for shows, podcasts, and we also create podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
This is completely donation worthy. We have a magazine that's dropping in January. We have a lot of stuff that's going on that people don't know about that we have to bring to the light.
Facts.
And we need your help and we need your support. And you know what it is. If you don't know have a job, create one. And if you take my one-on-one coaching, trust me, I know exactly where you need to go. Create your brand, create your legacy, create your goals. I know how to do it. Trust me. I'll tell you firsthand.
Of course.
Let them know we on the podcast. We're on all platforms right now.
Exactly. Everything. We don't have no games.
Apple Music, Spotify, Anchor, you can name it. We're there. And this is what's this? We already had our 4th episode.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Making moves, man. Just keeping everything, just keeping the progress going, bring positive energy on. Check us out, man. Just keep checking us out on our Instagrams and our Facebook. Twitter.
Yeah. Look. Let's talk about some positivity, man. You had we talking about entrepreneurship today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how hard it is to get loans and people dropping out of school to start businesses because they can't support themselves in college.
Facts.
Tell me a little about this walk right now that you got going on, starting your company, because I know we can't tell everybody the idea yet.
Yeah.
But as we vet this out, we're gonna need a lot of support, from this brother as he's going on this journey. A lot of people don't understand, like when you create a brand, and it's from conception of thought to putting it out in the atmosphere. You got to really believe that you can bring it to light, because I had to do the same thing here.
Mm-hmm. Made it happen.
I
never gave up.
Listen,
Fought the fight hard.
Trying to tell you, bruh. Also, the Republicans, there's some they already I believe they denied the student loan situation again. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, come on, man.
I just want to be able to make sure we got the proper resource because I've seen it. And I can't believe that they don't want to let these students free. That's crazy in America. What you think about that?
It's difficult because like trying to pay for a loan, student loan. I know that usually, a lot of people is not working and their families is not working. Like, say for example, their mom is working or their father is working and they in their life and stuff like that. They probably might not be making enough to actually cover that student loan. That's why they have student loan, because if your parents don't make enough, they have that to keep you covered, so you can be able to get to school, you can be able to graduate to college. And it's sad because if they take that away from people don't have no type of money to be pulling out $100,000 for a student loan or $100,000 for their kid to get an education. And it's sad because a lot of this money and it costs to actually go to these schools. And it's like the certain schools you want to go to is big prices, it's in the middle of the prices. And then it's like it's at certain ranges. So it's like it could be difficult. It could be difficult, especially if you don't have the type of funds that you need, especially in this pandemic.
So let me give you the story, right? It says the federal judge in Texas strikes down President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program, declaring it illegal. The lawsuit was filed by a conservative group, Job Creators Network Foundation, in October on behalf of the two borrowers who did not qualify for debt relief. Biden's program was already on hold to separate legal challenges, right? And it also says Biden's administration has argued that the Congress has been given Secretary of Education the power to broadly discharge student loan debt in 2003, known as the HEROES Act. So Texas, come on, man, y'all got to do better, man. I think that it's a shame that we can't even get a loan forgiveness when it's over 26 million borrowers out there. Meanwhile, we're sending money to other countries for relief. What about the relief in America?
Exactly.
I mean, that's why people don't choose education and they go to the street, right? We look at urban areas and you got drugs, violence, victimization, poverty-stricken areas, and those areas where people do a lot of drugs and they're trying to get past their little, they Joneses because it's hard out here. So, these are the things that we try to prove that we can help change.
Exactly. It's supposed to be like that.
Shout out to Science Park. Shout out to Coach Brown. We are doing the media day there at their local high school. We're waiting for university, and we'll have a couple other colleges that's really interested in what we got going on. And this is early morning hustle.
Yes,
You know what
sir.
I'm saying? This is Jersey J.
This is your boy Tbone.
Hey, look, just keep it locked with us, man. Hopefully, y'all having a good time. This is a crazy thing. The funny thing about this, shout out to DJ Preezy, right? He is on the Charlemagne show. He's working for MTV. That's my boy. Congratulations. We will be in the building soon.
Exactly,
You get what I'm saying? So, look, we just talking about little highlights of the people that we know that have been coming from the bottom and now they're here. It takes a lot of hard work every single day to be able to believe in yourself and believe in something that somebody doesn't even know exists.
Exactly.
So, it's kind of the focal point today is, right, where were you years ago and what you going through to where you at now and how you going to impact this generation to even know that you went back to school to be able to change the narrative about your whole life.
Well, years ago,
we could go 5.
I was actually 5 years. For example, 5 years ago, I was living in. I was actually like in a stage of actually being homeless at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had the vehicle, and I was having a lot of depression. I was having a lot of ups and downs situation because I wanted to leave. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to see how it is to be on my own because I felt like I've been around the influence of my family for too long, and I was pushing myself out there. And the first time I actually did it, I had to sleep in my car. I didn't have no place to go. I had everything in my car. I had to figure out certain places and certain things I was going to do. Didn't have no money, didn't have no type of way of actually living. And the one thing I didn't do was I didn't give up. I just kept fighting. So I did was I got a chance to get to an actual place. I kind of stayed at my cousin's place for a minute and worked at his store, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And what I came through was I came through a bad struggle. But the one thing about it, I didn't give up. I kept fighting. I kept moving forward. I said, you know what? I'm going to give me a 9 to 5, something that can actually help me get off my feet. And it actually did work, but it didn't actually get me to the type of place that I actually needed to be at the moment. So but what I didn't do was I didn't give up, and I didn't say that, I didn't say to myself that, I won't be this person, or I won't be able to achieve this. Because if I'd have told myself that, in my mind, I would actually believe that, but my heart would have been telling me differently. So what I kept doing is just kept fighting over and over. And what I kept doing over and over, yes, it was a trial, it was tribulations, it was a struggle. And it got a chance to help me get out of the little bit of space and a little corner that I was in. And when I actually did, I kept just finding ways of getting more. Then next thing you know, I started working 3 jobs at one time. Who does that?
Did you hear the man working 3 jobs, though? I'm just saying, shout out to all the Caribbeans, Wagwan. But it seems like, 2-3 jobs at a time is absolutely ridiculous. It seems like all the people that's working around the clock, if you're working around and you ain't even sleeping, the generation is going to break down like that.
I really had it. I really has to.
Listen.
I had to do what you had to do.
How many people that's on here working 3 jobs, 2 jobs just to make ends meet?
Facts. Monday through Friday and then do Saturday and Sunday.
Listen, hey, look, and not to mention, look, this is a case study that we're doing right now, along with crowd participation and then support, building a support group of the people that, hey, if you don't have a job, I can help you create one.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I understand what it is to have nothing and come from nothing to something. So many people that's on my Facebook right now that can attest to the type of help that they gave me. So I'm out here serving my purpose. And hopefully, if you're going through a hard time, look, we can get you on and we can make it happen for you. Try to do everything you possibly can to stay afloat. Because look, there's programs out here, but those programs, they're not really helping nobody, honestly. I know a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that sometimes you got to go through something to get to your purpose.
That's a fact. That's true.
And and let's talk about that struggle a little bit. Like, because as an entrepreneur, just buying T-shirts and hats and all of the things that you do. And listen, I've totally invested into myself. I haven't looked back. I don't even. I asked for support every day.
Mhm.
I talk about what we got going on. People are so invested in themselves. They don't really have enough money to probably even support you.
That's a fact. That's
So,
true.
so you know, if you understand that process, they know what you got going on, but they don't listen. $20, $1, shout out, tell a friend, tell a friend. This is how I tell you, like if you don't have money to support, yo, listen, subscribe. It don't cost you nothing just to clap.
Exactly.
Subscribe and like something. You know, we living in a selfish world right now.
That's a fact. That's true.
You know what I mean? And I realized that I had to step out of my own comfort zone and believe in my own brand, that we could survive and become a leader in some form of fashion, because that's what I wanted for myself.
True.
You know,
that's real.
Hopefully, I got DJ Preezy that's rocking on MTV with Charlamagne just started, man, and I want to get him on our podcast, but you know, if he's available, let's ask that right now. But we're gonna go into some more music. Let's go into the music. Who's out here that's hot right now that you feeling? Pull up your list, bro. Pull up your list. Give some shout outs to some people, man.
Hey, man.
Maybe we can get them on the show.
Shout out to that boy, man. Baby ATM, man. From Newark. Big bro not even signed and everything yet. And he is dope. He's representing people from Newark. And he's one of the people that represent people from Newark. And it's so crazy because, you know, like I know a lot of people see his talent, but people don't want to actually put him on because, you know, people talk about it, but people ain't really with it. You know, and I feel like, you know, he is one person that have so much talent. And I mess with every song that he got. And I respect this man. And he sees it. And he sees it. He see I post his video up even on my Facebook and Instagram. And he goes up in there, he sees it, and then it's like he see other people posting it up, and he see how much love it is. He see how much respect it is that people have for him. And it's not even just him. Like shout out to that boy Ish K, man. He made a song called Lover Boy. And it was a really good song. And he said a lot of things that people didn't pay attention to it. And it's like the value of the views situation. People didn't want to actually check him out. People didn't believe in him as much as possible. And it's sad because it's like, you know, all these people, they have talent. Like even this girl Tutu, she have talent. And people from North. I mean, like it's a lot of people that's from over here, from where we at. And it's like people not actually shouting them out, supporting them, and anything like that. And it's sad because it's like, you know, people like that, you see exactly how real the hate is when it comes down to people not supporting you. You don't have to have a record deal or a label in order for people to support you. Think of like, listen, you dope. You know, put you up on the Instagram, put you up on their Facebook, put you up in their story, so people know exactly like, oh, okay, he kicks with this type of person. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, you know. And I spoke about these people to a couple people. Oh, yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, he dope. Y'all know who she is. Yeah, she dope. Like stuff like that. But it's the fact of it is, when you got certain people that actually see your potential. I feel like if I had a way to where I could be to sign these people or you could be to sign these people, me and him, we'd do it. That's not a problem. We don't have an issue with that. And it's sad because it's like, you know, a lot of people that's actually out here now, they are really dope. They're really dope, and they're not being not being talked about. Exposed. You know?
And now look, so this is another part of the segment where you get a chance to hear how you sound and learn your own voice.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
So everybody doesn't have the greatest communication skills, right? But there's a lot of critiquing going on social media. Everybody's on social media platforms, right?
Exactly.
If you go to college and you've done, shout out to Big Chew, shout out to Jackie School, taught me how to, to speak in the general public and how to carry a conversation on a daily basis, because public speaking is very important.
That's a fact.
Although that you're on social media, you still have to articulate yourself at a high level and give yourself some value so people understand where you're coming from. Communication is one part of the English language that stand up because it's about to start happening again. So these are things that's going on. So the funny thing is that, like I said, communication is very, very untapped skill that people think that language is universal. It's not.
It's a fact.
It's not. Language is not universal in the area of let me explain to you. Body language, that's one form of language, right? You also have the physical, like the words itself, that part of the language. You got to break this thing down. You have, all of the senses are involved. Some people don't know how to communicate with their tongue. They know how to communicate with their body. A lot of people can tell. Like we did the media training and we saw the chance to see, but what people's body languages were. Some people, they were mute during the conversations when we were trying to articulate and carry out a press conference at the same time.
Exactly.
They didn't want to speak up and speak out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these are the things that we're trying to. No, not trying. We're doing.
Exactly.
But we're doing it.
Shout out to Big Baby, man. Shout out to that man, yo.
And we're giving untapped and undisclosed talent an opportunity to come on our platform, talk about their businesses, talk about their walk in their entrepreneurship life, how they feed their families, because we have to feed families too. You know what I'm saying? And also the positivity component of Black men got to stick together.
Exactly, man.
That's a big misconception about us as a whole. We do stick together, and it's not just being gang members or being in politics or being on a basketball team. There's a lot of individuals that can take some insight from us on how to be able to, young person to intelligent older person or mature guy that's in the game. You can learn something from everybody.
That's a fact, man. Shout out to everybody that's out there, man. Shout out to everybody that's actually just looking for a way out. Shout out to Jay Huff, man. Shout out to West Philly Turk, man. Shout out to these people, man, because it's crazy. It's like even people from my own city, like like Drop Top Harvey, Name, Memes, Rico Tim Bands, OEJ, people like that, like even Lala Brooke, man. Shout out to these people, because you know what, man? These same people that people never thought would be nothing actually becoming something.
Listen, and I support those people wholeheartedly, and I do.
I know
because I know a lot of people didn't think I was going to get where I'm at today. So I'm actually pushing for those individuals specifically on this podcast because, for one, God will use anybody.
That's a fact. What's crazy? I found out about somebody else, and he surprised me. Surprised me. His name is Big Trip. Big Trip. He's actually from New York and shit like that. He surprised me.
What's the curses, bro?
Oh, he surprised me. He surprised me by a lot of few things, because he came from like, say for example, you never expect for somebody to be somebody that you would how you say, when you see an image of somebody, you expect somebody's image to be different than what you see. You get what I'm saying? Like, you expect for that person to be like
articulate this thing. Let me explain it to me, because some people the audience might not understand.
Basically,
let's go into it then. Like, you mean like look? You mean the look of him, how he's coming with his delivery, some of the things that we got going on. Look, and I've learned this too. The visual sometimes does not match the outcome. Like, when you see a person with stage presence, I've seen people that had absolutely no change, no gold, come in there with all the same color, and when they open up their mouth, listen, it's science coming out of there. Listen, I'm gonna shout out to a rapper that right now that everybody needs to be paying attention to. His name is Russell. And when you're not paying attention to this brother is like the Black Martin Luther King of rap. And I'm telling you right now, when he opens up his mouth in the mic, he's speaking the gospel. And I tell you one thing, when we get a chance to interview him, and shout out next week, we got a major special guest on the podcast, CJ Wallace, Biggie Small's son. And that's what, we're gonna make sure we put our music on and bop it to the right and the left, because Biggie Smalls is one of my favorite artists of all time. I think if not, he's one of the top three or my top three favorite. When that Flashback Fridays come on, I think that Biggie Smalls have lived a living legend.
Exactly.
I mean, he's a living legend. He's not somebody that people feel like is passed away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So let's just keep it going. It's gonna be a smooth transition on today. We got a lot to do this weekend. Also, Rutgers University. Shout out to Jersey Mike's. You can drop off all of your coats book bags. They doing the coat drive and all that, and food drives too. So food drive with Rutgers University. Jersey Mike's is the location. Jersey Mike Stadium. Make sure you go there and drop off your stuff. It's for today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Hey,
it's all about the love.
It's all about the love. Definitely that. Pay attention to what's happening out here in your community. And we're going to be right back with some stuff. And anyway, it's a pretty easy day. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty easy day. I just want you guys to know this is a very exciting time in my life where I get a chance to mentor young people. I get a chance to give influence and impact my community. Hey, my question to you.
What's up, people?
I was trying to find out if we can get some political figures and some congressmen or maybe some people that's in our community down here to rock out with us this weekend. What you think?
Of course. What you was thinking?
Oh man, I you know what? Hey, one of my mentors, Wayne Smith, he used to be the mayor of Irvington, New Jersey. I'm gonna get him
I know
here.
exactly what you're talking about.
You listen, Wayne Smith. I'm shouting him out now, right? When I met him, he owned a black bank too. This is where I'm going, right? I never met a person that owned a black bank in my life.
Me neither.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that, somebody that owns a bank and has an opportunity for you, you guys got to pay attention to that.
Exactly.
He taught me how to move around the funding. He taught me how to build my brand, and he also told me the information on how to increase the value, because that's what people want to know. What's valuable about you? And it's always like I said, there's a language communication barrier between corporate America and the street. So people want to know how to scale. So I'm also going to teach you how to scale today too, and I'm going to teach you at the same time while we learning. We learning together. Exactly. And I think that having a classic understanding that, do you know where you're going? That's a coin right there. Do you absolutely know where you're going? Do you want to go by yourself, or do you want to go with a team? Me, I happen to want to go with a team.
Same here.
I could go. I've been there by myself. Trust me, it's lonely at the top.
It really is.
For real. You don't got nobody to talk to, and sometimes everybody thinks you're egotistical and you got an ego. But like Dion always says, don't let my confidence, make you feel like you have like you're afraid, and like don't let my confidence. And don't hold on. Let me remix that. He says to you, don't make your insecurities come be a part of my confidence. It's kind of like he broke it down. He broke it down and saying, like, if you're insecure about my confidence and think it's insecurities and arrogance, it's not. It's my confidence that makes you feel like the way you feel.
Exactly.
So I don't have to throw myself down for you.
Why should you?
Why should you? You should want to be excellent at everything you do, right?
It's like basically you changing your image for somebody else.
Right. And I think that, I don't want you to water down yourself.
Exactly.
That's what I see. Like, I don't want you to water down anything you're doing. I think that that's where there's a measuring stick going on. And I think you should have your own voice.
It's a fact.
And I think in business, some people don't want to highlight that.
Exactly.
I think I want to wrap that thing in a bow and deliver it to everybody in the world so they can understand, like, listen, there's intelligent people out here.
That's a fact.
You just gotta rock with them.
True.
Until they find their way. Because everybody had a walk of life, and everybody's like, actually, they're guessing and trying to make educated guesses along the way. Excuse me. Shout out to local Irvington, New Jersey. They be hooking us up with the Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we got Dunkin' Donuts as a sponsor or something like that, because we're trying to help our communities, man. So when you think about these parts of, like, do you have to, and when you go to your jobs, or you had your jobs, did you have to not be yourself to be at that job?
Absolutely.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like, anytime I go to a job, I'm remaining me. I ain't changing for the next person.
No, but I'm saying that, did they ask you to be like,
Like, they didn't ask me to be my. They asked me to be myself. They didn't ask me to be anyone else. they were just basically just saying that, when you come into work, it's like, you just remain humble. Like, you remain humble when you at work. It's like, I feel like when you go to a job and you're working at a job, they're not asking you to change your image. They ask you just to do certain things differently. You get what I'm saying? Because, you can't do the same things you did at say example, old job that you had. When you come into a new presence, you have to change, reevaluate yourself, reevaluate how you do things. Because everything is different in this world, especially if you're not paying attention. And you have to pay attention because you could do something truly, truly bad and it can end your career forever.
Hey,
and it can mess you up, and you will feel that type of discouragement because you be feeling like, I wish I could have did better.
Right. Let me see. I'm gonna send my guy the link right now. He just now hit me. CJ Meenan, and I want to go into this conversation with him really quick. Hold on, let me see where he is. Is he available? Shout out to CJ Meenan. He has amazing business that I want everybody to understand that this is super cool to be on. And you guys, he showed me some parts of the game that's so different in business that I have to shout him out this morning. And hopefully I can bring him on. And you guys can listen to some of his insight in business. It's really like intellectual what he got going on. Let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what we got. Yeah, he is here. But yeah, as we keep this thing going, keep it rolling, and try to keep the flow moving. Here we go. Come on. The chat. See, what I wanted to do is learn a different flow on a Friday, like improvisation, at the same time, be able to interact with your audience and have a real cool conversation,
Exactly.
And entrepreneurship is the title of today and on Flashback Fridays, because I can remember where I was, right? A kid that got these super big dreams of building his own institution, his own network, and creating value for himself. You know what I'm saying?
And that's good though, because you have a lot of value in yourself. You never know how far that value could go. Once you believe in you, you have somebody else that believe in you too. That's another factor, because now you want to go even twice as hard as you ever went before. So, say for example, one person believe in you, and then you get 5 more people that believe in you. Now you got 6 people, but plus yourself, that's 7 people, and then you get 5 more people, and they continue just increasing after that, and it continue increasing over and over, because once a couple people believe in you, they push the narrative out to other people. And other people like, oh yeah, I know.
Yo, you know what's funny? Since I'm a Gemini, and I could attest to this, a lot of people. The reason why I can understand what Kanye West is saying is because I had multiple conversations with myself. I don't need friends because I got 12 people.
Facts. You already know what it is.
One day every month, I change into a different version of myself, and I'm that character all month. So I get a chance to have fun with different characters all the time. Most people don't understand that with a Gemini, you have to decipher through the information. If he wants you to know something, he'll tell you directly.
Exactly.
And if you're not listening to him long enough, he'll step on you.
Yeah, that's true.
And before there's any argument or bad vibe, he'll dip off on you before the vibe even. That'll be kind of giving you a bad taste in your mouth because he dipped off so fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think people got Kyrie Irving all the way messed up when it comes to. All right, so first of all, is he a genius or is he not a genius?
He's a genius.
Is he not ahead of his time?
He's ahead of his time, way ahead of his time, and he not even old. That's the crazy part about it. He's not even old, but he got so much knowledge, he got so much understanding, and people don't understand that. Just because somebody comes to the world and they present something doesn't mean they should be looked at as a bad person.
Right,
Let's
stand
get
up real
that.
quick. Stand
Yeah.
up. Yeah, so these are the things that's going on during the day, right? It's hilarious, right? Because we're here so early that the building ain't even ready for us to be here. But we be rocking out every day. It's so hilarious. It's so hilarious. I get to laugh at this all the time because I'm an early bird. I like waking up since I was a young kid. As minute. And then this is another thing that I want to cure, right, if I can help it. Asthma. I've been an asthmatic since I was a kid. I played athlete sports my whole entire life. Hey, brother. We got a special guest today, man. We got the guy adding to the spot. Morning, CJ.
Just coming in from outside, fellas. I hope everybody's doing good.
Yes, sir. Yes. Listen, I told everybody about you. Excuse my voice. I've been talking all week. Right. So I said, I got the coolest entrepreneur that you guys got to meet. He taught me so many tricks in the game that kept me alive through COVID. And there's a lot happening out here. We're dealing with a lot of mental illness, anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
College kids, they don't know what to do, but they also have tricky things that they do to stay alive on social media, right? Animation. They're in video, they're in gaming worlds. And I told him, I said, I got a cool cat that I've been working back with ever since we were rocking out when I'm running around with a camera. I'm running around with a camera by myself. You get what I'm saying?
Back in the day.
Hey, see, people don't know the evolution of the brand, right? So I said, this brand wasn't even alive until I realized that I needed to sit down and have conversations with people to find out what they did so I could build my business. And he had a website, right? I'll let you tell a little bit about it. Okay. Tell them about your platform.
Yeah. So listen, I've been teaching entrepreneurship for 30 years. I went back to school to get an MBA when I was in my 40s. And I came out and I realized that people needed help. And it wasn't just, if you want to learn the skills, we live in a time where you can learn all the skills you need to be an entrepreneur. But in order to do that, you have to be able to get into the colleges that are holding that information. Yeah. And if you can't get into the college or you can't get into the grad school, then you don't get to get that information and get in the game. Mm-hmm. So I was talking to my partner, Jill Callahan, about this. And she said, look, CJ, tech is the equalizer. Why don't we go build our own platform and get the information out there so people can access it? And that's exactly what we did. We spent 2 years studying the top programs on the planet. I went to Babson, the #1 school for entrepreneurship, got an MBA from Babson, went to Harvard, got a certificate from Harvard in entrepreneurship, and came out of both of those programs and said, now I'm ready to set mine up. And oh, by the way, previous to that, I had built a $25 million nonprofit teaching entrepreneurship around the world. So I took all of that and put it into the current program we have now called XP Startup Labs. And if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get in the game, this is your ticket to entry right here.
So look, we got an entrepreneur right here, right?
Love it.
So I explained to him, I said, look, me and my guy, we've been working this thing and trying to figure out how we can work together, right? Programs, certificates. We've been doing things. He's been actually getting entrepreneurs together to help them build funding, which is an amazing job. He's been doing an amazing job. Meanwhile, he was able to hire me for production. And actually, I got a coin because Street Startups was one of the #1 podcasts. And I want to bring that thing back around and really highlight you guys this year to be able to get you guys back. And you guys are early in the industry, but I know we can impact it with the network that I have now. It's a lot of kids that need to know who you guys are. And shout out to Rutgers University for this is my 5th year with an opportunity with Express North to be able to be building this type of platform, right? They gave me with my experience and my hustle, they believed in my program. And they said, okay, look, we're gonna give you another year. We're gonna give you another opportunity to be able to flush this thing out so everybody can know what you're doing. COVID happens. As soon as it starts to blow up, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Now I'm sitting in the house, I'm looking, Zoom's blowing up, and I'm not doing this.
I know.
I say, first of all, how do you deal with someone that's so hands-on, person to person, and there's no opportunity for you to get to your clients. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was part of what we did, right? And look, the quick answer is technology. We
Right.
now have the opportunity in the world we live in to go anywhere, anytime through the use of platforms, through the use of programs like this, through the use of Zoom. The barriers are being broken down. The barriers to entry that have kept entrepreneurs out of the game have been smashed, and it's time to play. The challenge is that I see is getting people the knowledge they need to know in order to be in the game and be successful. Look, if you think about it like sports, right? You don't just walk on the basketball court one day and become a star. You got to, in the words of Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice, right? You got to get out there. You got to learn your skills. You got to hone your skills. You got to get good. Okay. And that's part of what my program.
Oh, we kicked him out?
No,
I don't know what happened. We gotta invite him back in really quick.
We actually lost it.
Yeah, we lost it. But hey, listen, sometimes at work that happens. Listen, this is technology.
Yeah.
But you gotta understand he was in the middle of his platform. We text him back one more time. I don't know what happened. But yo, he was on to something.
Yeah, he's definitely on to a lot.
We sent him back the link so he could finish the conversation. These things right here really, really are important for us to show people that we really got things going on. I don't know what happened to the social media up there, but you have to work on your skills, man.
That's true.
See, you didn't even know on Friday that he was going to be in the program with certificates and scholarships and everything. All right, we back.
Looks like I lost you, fellas.
Look, you see, that's why technology is so important, man.
Well, it's my bad. I was trying to get on on my setup here in the studio. I'll just stick with this.
And don't worry about it. We get to edit here. That's why this is a great thing. We can do it live, and we can restream it. We can edit it. We can do it from anywhere. This is the greatest part, and we can stream live now. That's the greatest part of the platform. You don't even have to be. We can teach and we can educate now.
That's it.
This is the best part of the partnership that we had, because he's an amazing educator. Like when you start doing the seminars, I didn't even realize that I was in school. It's so funny. COVID happened. He would send us the link, and I'm like, I would just tell my experience, and he just told me that people know me. Like, he does a reentry program, which is amazing, right? He goes around and he talks about entrepreneurship.
Yo, listen, we got to get together. Why, we got to hook up. Yeah, let's meet next week.
That's fine.
Listen, we got to get him set up. I want to, like I said, I have I just did a whole media training for all high school students. I wanted to get you a part.
Saw that. Brilliant.
Next, I have university, high school. I'm getting all high schools involved, coming down to, first of all, public speaking is very hard. Everybody doesn't have that skill.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I mastered that skill. I've been on stage.
You taught me how to speak on video. That's it.
And just to be able to articulate yourself and get people to have to build a value system while you're expressing yourself. Some people don't have a boring personality. They don't know how to articulate where they're trying to take you. And I just had that skill to build. And I said, let me take this to a platform where people can understand. Like, some people don't have the best personalities, but you can take this and take what they have of value, turn it into some type of program, and make it interactive and enjoyable for people to see. So that's why the values is so important for us to build at the same level. Because you know what? You know who has that? Kids. Young people have the skill set. That's why TikTok is so inspirational to people, and they enjoy this more than they're enjoying it more than Instagram. The quote unquote live scene. You can see it, and you can see the mistakes. You see the good things. You can see the bad things. And tell me a little bit about what's new, like what you got going on now.
Yeah. So you just said reentry, right? Well, Tracy and I brought street startups into the Department of Corrections right when COVID would start, right? And look, let's keep it real. Some of our most talented entrepreneurs are in prisons and jails across the country right now. And if you want to look at what the war on drugs did here in the United States, it took so much talent out of our communities, right? Took so much talent out of our communities and locked that talent away. And basically now you're dealing with a situation where you have generations of young men who've just been separated from their families, right? You not only destroyed individuals, but you've destroyed families, and ultimately you've destroyed communities. So this war on drugs has impacted far more than just individuals, right? We're talking about communities being attacked by this issue.
Right.
And part of what Tracy and I talked about was we need to help people rebuild. And whenever you're talking about rebuilding communities, the number one way to rebuild a community is through entrepreneurship and economic activity. And we all know that the entrepreneurs are the drivers of economic activity in our communities. So what better way to help folks individually and help families and help communities, but by teaching the skills of entrepreneurship. So look, we've been dancing around this for a while. We've been, you know, Javon, we've been working in impacted communities for 2 years now.
Right.
And we kept saying we need to go back into the prisons and help folks who are incarcerated so that when they get back home, they can hit the ground running and they've got the skills to
And look, the returning citizens that are on the street that have nothing to do. See, this is where I see the problematic issue is, right? Once they get out, now they're on the blocks, they're on the corners, they're around their friends, they're around the whole same the Jones of, okay, I have to do what I have to do.
Yes.
Now they're stressed out. Now they're feeling the same thing, the same problematic issues that they got in trouble in the first place. So how do you stop someone from being survive, fight or flight?
Yes.
They can't. They have to survive. They have to do everything they possibly could do to eat. So if you have a person that's in your community that way, and they're looking at you, you can become a target. We have that violence that brings violence into your neighborhoods, that makes kids endangered, that has issues that's going on, right? So there's no programs besides mine and yours that can target that insight and say, hey, how many people don't have jobs here?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we have a job fair and get mental health is a major issue in our communities for one, right? And then you have the entrepreneurs that don't have funding that are in those communities that we don't even know about. So that's what made, and then you have the younger kids that are being influenced by all of those things. And I said, you know what? Let me do myself a favor and become the ad that have the story be told about all of these people. So they became my target market. And I said, okay, that's the value right there. So I need to make those people the celebrities, and that's how I found CJ.
True.
Because I think that in my area of the IMU network, he's one of my all-stars on the all-star team because he kept my company afloat when people didn't want to see the value in my company. So I said, oh, snap, I have it. Now I know that, okay, the local celebrity that I see and I take pictures and videos every day, these guys, they just take advantage and take for granted that we're here. And the interviews that we give them, that we just posted on our platform and they get free press. So I said, okay, that's out. I have to get to the person that's going to really talk to me and engage me and be able to work in the community at the same time to have a better economic fair, you know, where we are both living and we're breathing each other's business. And that's when it works. Top video games. This is where we are right now.
Yeah.
Right now we're in a video game social platform era right now where CJ has something great that we're working on. He has an animation and video game platform on his. I'm gonna show him a platform too. So it's funny that all people had to do during 2019 was play video games.
Yeah. Yep.
It's big money.
We're talking $1 billion industry, right? Multi.
We need
so it's skyrocketed. Now, again, as a teacher, as an educator, remember my background. I'm a school teacher, and so what I've learned is to identify what students are interested in and how they learn. And I came home one day and I saw my son on the computer playing a video game where he had to build a strategy. He had to build a team. He had to implement the plan that he developed with his team members. And he had to use all these decision-making skills. Every single one of them is what they're trying to teach at school. But I had never seen him so engaged before in my life. And as I started to look at this and break it down, I said, wow, these video games are adding so much value to his life. You know, as adults, we think kids are just playing over there.
They're not.
You know, and then my partner Jill came along. She raised her children not to be afraid of technology, to engage in technology, to play video games. And she saw the benefits of playing video games at all or online gaming is what we call it now, right? You can tell how old school I am. I'm calling them video games, right? So they're doing all the online gaming, and she saw the skills that her young folks developed, so she brought it to me. She said, CJ, we got to do something to help the gamers take their gaming skills and turn them into startup skills. Yeah. And that's how the whole XP Startup Labs for gamers got started. And we've been going now for 2 years doing just that, teaching gamers how to turn their gaming skills into a startup situation.
See, and that's huge, you know, because you're reaching kids. You're reaching kids where they are. And
just think about the disconnect. You got young people who are learning to be independent, how to think for themselves, how to make decisions and run their own lives. And now you're taking them, and in school, what are you teaching them? The only thing you're teaching them is how to go get a job and work for somebody else.
That's true.
People don't want to do that. They want to express themselves in the marketplace.
And it's sad because it's like this nation nowadays, it's like people is taking the wrong concept when it comes down to like actually you being your own boss and you being your own entrepreneur. Like certain people is not getting the right understanding, because when it comes down to certain videos that people are watching, people being influenced the wrong way. And when they seeing all this technology and they seeing people posting this online, like it's like, you know, when people looking at some of these videos, I don't really think they're getting the right type of inspiration. I feel like people get lost in this type of world because it's like depression works a lot, especially nowadays. Depression is one thing. And it's like people being inside of jail systems and stuff like that, especially in this pandemic. And it's like, you know, it's reflecting because like people don't know what to do. You constantly being in one room for 6-7 hours, you know? You going up to YouTube, watching these videos, you thinking these people giving you the right type of knowledge. Oh, you know, and especially these young kids nowadays, 13, 14, 12 years old. How they doing things now is, you know, they could be jumping on the video game. They could be, say, for example, they could be playing Call of Duty. Next thing you know, they want to go out there. They want to have a big behind gun. They want to be shooting it down the street. Like, come on, you can't be doing stuff like that. And it's sad because it's like some of them don't know exactly what it is from the real world and the fake world.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's so true. And so what our program does is help folks take those skills that they're just learning while they're playing the game and use them in a positive way, right? So you talk about resource management. I mean, a silly little thing. Do I pick up the health right now, or do I pick up the ammo right now? Right? Which one of these do I pick up? Which one do I need now? And now we're going to make that decision later on in the day. Do I go to school? Do I need that now, or do I go hang out with my friends now? Right?
Right.
These are decisions that we got to learn how to make.
See, and the thing is that the impactful part that you're saying right now, I think people need to understand that is real adult life. What do I pick up so the skill scales, that my life improves? And if I pick up the wrong skill set at that moment where I make a decision, it affects my family. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know that correlation. If kids are picking up that cognitive skill because they need value, they need to build their organizations, they need to build their teams, they want to get popular. They understand the correlation between popularity, influence, and building a team building. See, really, the point that I'm trying to make here is that adults, when you become an adult, some people have never, back in the 80s and 90s, they never played a sport before. So they don't know how to deal with 2022's children right now. Yeah. They don't want to deal with those guys because They are not talking online. They're not networking. They're not network marketers. So they don't know how to relate to today's society. And I think that right now is the time for relationships to be building. And I call you guys the legacy builders, those the generation that are the baby boomers that have voted, made the policies, created the things that we see now, and then the early development of old is now a new generation, and they feel like, okay, I can stay in the house and I can work all day, I can work online, and I can make the value system from sitting in a seat. And I don't think the perspective of the respect level of that the baby boomers to this generation are not meeting. And I think this is the example of the respect level.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I think that the people that understand that they explore new ways of evolution and be able to build the enterprise. Because I need the old school ways, honestly. That's why I need the younger generation to understand that the old school way, from target marketing to who's your target, who are you trying to influence, and are they paying you? Because me and you, CJ, we had to talk about that, right?
Yeah.
One of my issues, crowdfunding, right? I can talk a great game, but now when we talk about the value of the system, I have had a little bit of issues on, and corporations, they have a different language, so that's not my skill set, right? So that's where I have to bring the expert in to say, okay, I know the value. I know how to articulate it in front of mass audiences. I'm a great influencer to the youth. So now I know how to do that. How do we take that and package that so corporations can take us around the country? And CJ is going to take us around the country, because I think that this system between young, the people that are becoming professionals from either re-entry or just are going back to college, like CJ just said, he went back at 40, I went back at 30. These things are happening simultaneously, because I want to be a doctor. I want to be Dr. Akeley. I don't want to. I want my son to see masters of communication on the wall and say that he mastered language and articulation and journalism, because that's the skill set he was in, learning how to relate to his audiences. And I want the audience that's learning who the new me is now.
Exactly.
And so for you, you're going to take his course, and we're going to do a master class, and we're going to create, and we're going to be able to articulate from the older generation to the new generation. And we're going to start, I already started now, so now I'm an educator, and now we're going to start building this format so everybody can understand this is the value.
I love it. I love it.
Building people. So listen, CJ, I'm so happy you came on. You saved our friend, and then I said,
thank you, CJ.
We went Flashback Fridays. Tell them about when we first met, where we were, and the first time I seen him, and I said, hey, it's this cool guy sitting in the seat, right? It was a break. We was at Red Bull Stadium, and I'm like, this guy's. It was a break, and it was motivational speakers. I think it was the hip hop preacher at the time, right?
Yeah, Eric Thomas was the keynote.
It was the keynote speaker, Eric Thomas, and I was filming for that program.
Okay,
and I'm like, why isn't anybody interacting at the time? See this cool, fresh guy sitting in the back. I thought he was cool, so I figured
I got that energy.
Young people energy. I was like, what are you doing, bro? So we started talking. He was like, yo, I got, maybe we should do some business. And I'm like, see, this is the first person that said to me, out of all the people that are quote unquote entrepreneurs, let's do some business. That struck my mind. I said, that's somebody to work with.
Because he's seeing potential.
See,
that's right. You're absolutely right. I saw him hustling that day, and I didn't even know how hard he was hustling that day. Right? I only found that out later on.
Yeah.
But look, that's the power of networking. My side of that story is, look, I've been teaching for 25 years. Well, at the time, I've been teaching for 25 years, and these guys were essentially my competitor. And I said, you know what? Let me go and check out what's going on now. Let me see what's current. Let me see what's fresh. I don't ever want to be that guy who has that attitude of, oh, I know it all. Right. And that's how I ended up at the event.
Right.
So if I don't go to that event, I don't meet Javon, and a whole component of my business now doesn't exist.
But see, CJ, if you didn't meet Javon, and then Javon didn't actually put me onto all of this stuff right here, how can I meet you today and you give me this much knowledge,
Right.
That's it. That's it. You got to, the entrepreneurs out there, you got to be building your network every single day, right? And then you got to follow up. Like, it's great that we met at the event, but if we hadn't followed up, so what?
And the crazy part is I'm literally trying to beat depression from young people. Young people are really like canceling themselves out of here.
I know.
Man, it's at like an all-time rate. I'm realizing that it's a lot of people that they call me and they're like, look, man, I don't feel so well. I'm gonna take myself out. And I'm like, no, this is not it. You have a voice. Find your voice. You have a skill that God gave you that you can create and be able to influence anybody around you. Your story is a jewel. It's a diamond in the rough. You just don't know how to tell it. And I think that's where I found my voice and images. And I'm a master at imagery. You get what I'm saying? People know how to document and be able to create and bring people together at any time of the hour. Look, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. People, look, I'm carrying out my network the way I'm supposed to. It's educational. Philanthropy is going on, entrepreneurship. I got young people involved. These are the interactive things I want people to see about the brand that creates a legacy for our families. And it's a value system that anybody can use, because I don't want to just use it for myself.
Exactly.
And I think that part is very important for people to understand, that if you're going to be on a platform, what is your platform about? And why do I have to tune in every day or tune once a week? And now we're on every platform. We're on all platforms. I put on, and not to mention, 50% partner of just like how we do it. Every entrepreneur that's around, if you guys want to create your own platform, your own podcast, your own documentary, your own series, this is the place to do it. You have to build out and flesh out who you are and tell the genuine, authentic story about yourself so people understand where you're coming from. It's relatable. It's true to value. It's true to purpose. And CJ knows how to do ebooks. He did one with his kid. I want to do one with my kid. I think that's
Do it.
Fine.
Look, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
So you gotta get out there and you gotta share yourself with people. And you mentioned a very powerful thing, Javon, this whole issue about, our young people and the state of mind that a lot of our young folks are in. It's another powerful point of gaming. And look, I'm not a mental health professional. The problem's real, but I can speak to my own experience. And I do know that there's a power in the video games. One of the things they teach us, or the gaming is, one of the things it teaches us is you can start over.
Exactly.
Even if you fail, you can start over.
Oh, man, listen.
Yep.
Right?
That's
just
crazy.
hit reset, bro.
I swear. I felt bad about starting over. It's like you messed up so many times, and I'm like, dang, how am I gonna do this? I don't want people to see my flaws, my weaknesses, but I said, you know what? Forget that. You're gonna see what I'm going through, so you know that it's not all perfect, and that I'm trying every single day. And you need to help this mission. You have to help impact the story. You are a major player in this component that nobody see. Everybody's calling me now at 8 o'clock, but I'm trying to tell people, listen. We are on a network. This is every morning, and we're not going to stop until we're on national television where people can see this type of energy.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And I won't stop until I get there. And when I get there, I'm going to have a whole bunch of young people behind me to create this thing. CJ, you're on the journey, and everybody needs to know what we're doing, man.
Facts, man. I'm one of the people that actually dealt with that
depression. Tell them.
I dealt with depression over and over. I dealt with depression maybe, to be honest with you, I dealt with depression since I was actually a little kid. When I was born, I was actually put on Ritalin, and I didn't actually know that. I was born crazy, and when I came out, like I had a lot of depression. I dealt with depression like at a young age. I was in Jersey City going to school at PS 41, and I was dealing with depression even then, like because I felt like and I had a seizure. CJ, I had a seizure, and I had a seizure, and I dealt with it for I lost 3 years of the life that I actually had, and I was 3 years old when it actually happened to me. I had to learn everything from what I had already learned already to learn it right back again. And it was difficult. And I ended up going through so much of depression because I felt like, I didn't want to read in front of people. I didn't want to talk in front of people. Like I felt like, people might laugh at it. People might feel like, oh, well, he don't know as much knowledge as we thought he did. And then, so crazy was like, that's the mind frame that I was thinking about when I was younger. And when I started to see that people didn't really care that I was around, I said, oh, okay. It made me want to aspire even more. And I grew up going through depression because my grandfather, he was the one that actually raised me as his actual son. Because my father, he was there, but he was caught up on mental drugs for 40 years of his life. And he's actually still on it now. And to be honest with you, he doesn't play a part in my life. He never did. Me, I actually have a daughter, 12-year-old, Javon's niece and all of that. It played the part because it's like me as a person, like I always wanted to see how it was to be a father and understand how it is, and I've dealt with depression ever since I was a young age, but depression actually really started to happen to me when I was around 11 and 12, and I dealt with depression, and then I got arthritis in my legs, and I went through a lot of mental stage. My mom's, say for example, my father was on drugs for 40 years, my mother was sick for almost 40 years. And it's sad because it's like, and then it's like being a victim of
stand up.
No,
I know, you know what? Say it. Say it.
Okay. So being a victim of being caught up to where like knowing that your mom, she grew up and she dealt with sickness, but she also was molested at one time.
Mm-hmm.
That actually happened to me when I was 11. That actually happened to me up to when I was 13. But the one thing I didn't do was I didn't let it bring me down. I kept fighting. Because the only thing I know was, CJ, is to keep moving. I don't know what it is to give up. I don't. It's hard for me. I can give up today and I'll be ready to go back tomorrow. Or I'll be back the next hour. Like, listen, put me back in it. I'm ready to get back in the field. Because it's like people don't know how it is to actually go through these struggles. Like, I understand. And it's like, maybe it's, me and Javon actually feel on the same level because Javon actually came and helped me at a time that I actually needed it. Because I was going through a lot. Going through depression for 3 years at the time. At the time that I had my daughter, I went through depression for 3 years. I didn't have nothing. I went through a bad struggle. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how it was to be a father. And it was very, very difficult. And then, say for example, I'm asking people for help. And it's like I couldn't get help from certain people. My family, they was the ones who did me the most dirty. This man right here was one of the men who actually believed in me. And he the one that made me go out and get these 3 jobs and work. And once I got a car, he told me about his dream he wanted to do. Oh, I want to get my certifications. Come on, bro. I take you anywhere you want to go. I don't care if we're going all the way down to Atlanta. I don't care if we're going all the way down to Washington, D.C., Miami, Las Vegas. We'll take that ride. I don't care. If we got to go sleep in the car for a couple of hours and do it, let's do it. And the crazy thing about it is if it wasn't for him actually graduating me out of that stage, I feel like that I wouldn't be here. And I wanted to offer myself a couple times with drugs, with shoot myself, stabbing myself, throw myself off a bridge and stuff like that. But I had to think to myself that why should I give up this easily? And then when I had my daughter, I had to work with them type of mental stages. And it was difficult for me because first thing I thought to myself that I didn't have a father, and it was difficult because like me as a man, I didn't know what to do at a certain time. The one thing I always knew is that you have to continue fighting. The inside of me kept telling me, if you give up now, people were going to put out the story that, like he had this dream, he had that dream, but, he gave up too early. And I don't want to be one of the who's on the news,
So look, you see how that works, right? Letting someone speak their truth all the way to the end.
Yes.
Is very important, right? If you look at the media, you got journalists, you have people that are cutting off the conversation, not getting the person's whole thought out to express themselves.
Yeah.
Even though it's not understandable or relatable to them, people don't have empathy anymore. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to go live. I wanted to go live for a reason, only because that not only is this a case study for other people to follow, this is for them to understand that I have real life people sitting down with me with real life problems, and we're working them out together on a daily basis in the state, the government, the colleges, the community has to be a part of this development of building people. People go through problems daily, and they show the good parts on social media, right? But what about who's dealing with the bad part? Who's dealing with the issue that's problematic when you see them with what they call an episode, right? So I case that with the Kanye West. You see a camera always in their faces, and someone going through PTSD while you're actually watching them because they can't get out of their own way.
Exactly.
People need a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
And to be themselves, to be able to create, to have a visual, have a physical living person that truly cares about, hey, say, bro, I've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Human emotion is real. I had episodes before. I had breakdowns before. I've cried. I've been through these issues. I've been through these moments where I wanted to just be like, kid, I just want to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to help me? I don't know what to do. I've been in trouble before with the law multiple times to the point where it ruined my career in the area where I knew that I had dreams. And I've gotten to those points where no one wanted to help me. They want to disregard me and they want to push you to the side and say, listen, this kid is not valuable for what I'm doing right now. He's a big burden to what we got going on. So we can't associate with him. We can't. And this is what the school system does.
Yeah.
And then the bullied kid becomes a person that has a gun in his hand, and then he goes and shoots the place up. I don't know how many news stories we've heard of this, where the kid was bullied because he couldn't get out his issue and his problems. And he had the one friend, or she had the one friend that they told before anything happened. They were bullied for multiple weeks from their peers, and nobody knew that these emotional erratic episodes were happening, and they were videoing them. And I was telling myself, I said, you know what? I was a bully kid. And I said, I know what it feels like to not have a voice. Oh, you'll be okay. You know, you grew up in the 90s and you got to be tough.
Yep.
Everybody's not so tough.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody don't have money. I didn't grow up with the gold spoon and somebody. I didn't wear Jordans every day. My son has more Jordans than I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And I said, who in the world is paying $200? I said, you know what? I'll pay $200 for a business.
Facts.
Yes.
But I ain't paying $250 for those sneakers because when they cost $12.
Investment.
And I invested in myself, and I know the value of what those sneakers cost. And I can take my son to talk to other sneakerheads at these organizations, these communities, knowing that y'all paying thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars for plastic and material when I could create it myself.
Facts.
So that's what made me become an entrepreneur and create my reality. And I think people need to see this on Facebook and not turn a blind eye to it, because you have a passionate person in the community that cares about kids like him, and people that was in the community and elders themselves too that need to get their voices across too. That's why my company is valuable, and that's why I'm going to create the stories that need to be told. And I'm going against the media narrative of that these people have problems and you should disregard them. That's an issue, and this one needs to be changed in our community. And that's what we're speaking about today. And that's why I said Flashback Friday, I'm going to bring CJ on, because this guy helped me impact my future by teaching me the language.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. When somebody look, there's a lot of young, and I'm going to call you out. There's a lot of elders that are sitting around me that do not want to help. They look and they know they have the value system. They have the marketing ability. They have the machine that's around me. And they say, listen, if he gets 5% of what I had, he's going to be on top. Yes. I will encourage all my elders to get behind a company like mine, because the influence is the value of the young and the elder. Mm-hmm. Those partnerships must happen now in order for us to build a legacy and a new curriculum that we can understand. Look, we just talked about Joe Biden, and they just striking down in Texas that the student loan system is, why would you bat that down?
That whole system's so corrupt. So we're going to take young people who got no business taking on these loans, right?
Are you kidding? 18 years old? Listen, my mom bounced a check $5,000.
We're forcing these loans on people. Forcing them on people.
Listen, it's so hard to be able to even think about paying 13, 20,000. I'll just pay a little bit. Look, I could barely put gas in my car at 18. I barely had a vehicle. I didn't even know how to pee in the toilet straight. I'm trying to read books on a regular basis. How you asking an 18-year-old to pay that debt? It's an issue. It's a problem. It's a capitalist society where your kids are always going to be stressed out. And if I could get in front of anybody, a Congress, a board, I would tell them these kids are stressed out and they can't think about money and education at the same time. There's no way possible that they're going to get this thing right the first time. I failed the first time right out. And then this is what my perception was at Dell State University. When they called me back to say, hey, why don't you take a break? I said, would you like to come back to school? The first thing I said, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that no more. That was my first nervous breakdown. I was only 19 years old. And I said, I don't want to go through that stress ever again. I went to junior college. And then right after that, a fire happened and I lost it all. So then I go into the society, it's trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And you're dealing with a hurt person that's psychologically not healthy. So how are they going to deal with regular life and they want to be educated at the same time? We have to deal with this case study and hit it at the head. What are the numbers of people going through that type of stress? How are they dealing with their everyday life? Can they pay their bills? Do they have a job? Is this, it's kind of like this. Remember back in the day, they used to say this one thing, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Where's the village?
That's a fact. That's true.
Where's the village?
What do you do when you're in a village that's corrupt?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We got a situation now where you're being forced to take a loan, right? And now the same young person walks in with a business plan and says, "Could you fund my business?" And it goes, no. We're not going to do that for you.
No.
We will only give you the money so that you can go to get this college loan so that then you can be in debt to us for the next 30 years of your life.
Oh my God, I've dealt with the 20. I'm at 15 years in right now. But that's why I returned back to school to make this a case study for everybody to understand. Hey, look, this is the issue. If I'm in debt, I'm indebted to you, right? And I have to articulate, think, understand, reason, conflict resolution skills, be able to be public speaking, and be able to write all the material you asked me to do to finalize a degree so I can get a quote unquote job. And I'm not making money this whole entire time. And then you have the weight of your weight on your shoulders of your family's problems on your back. Some people climax and they rise to the occasion, they make it. Majority of the people don't.
Exactly.
It's the equivalent of the NBA. How many people are going to make it through college?
It's an inverse pyramid. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, that's the difficulty. And I want to be able to be on these boards. There should be people that failed school and now are currently in school getting their degrees, that people should be throwing money so these people could get through these schools. Where's the issue in that? You've been giving corporations loads of money to do all harm in our communities. Where are the people that can come help this very reason while our economy is doing what it's doing? You don't want to really help the people. You want to hurt those people.
Look, brother, I agree. Look, I can imagine a room, folks are sitting in the room and they're saying, okay, we controlled half the population by locking them up.
Dang it, truly.
We got other folks over here. How are we going to keep them in their place? I know. We'll put so much debt on them that they'll never be able to get out of it.
Ever.
Man, shut up.
Riddle me this, Batman. Why are colleges cost so much nowadays? Let's not forget, people, our colleges and universities are non-profits.
Yeah, that's true.
Boom.
They're not paying taxes.
Exactly.
And they're sitting on $30 billion endowments,
Jeez.
$40 billion endowments, 50 billion. Go look up the endowment for Stanford, for Princeton, for Harvard. These colleges and universities have bigger endowments than some countries have an entire budget.
Exactly. That's the crazy part about it, because they're not even like say for example, they're not even trying to use some of that money to give back to the nation,
The community.
to the community.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, and it's like some people don't know what to go.
Kids should be able to be entered in free, especially if they tried to go to school and couldn't fit. Listen, if I have to come out of my pocket and struggle, majority of the time I had to wait 2 weeks till after school started for me to get my books, because I didn't have the book money to get it. And usually books are usually almost $1,000 every semester, or if you're taking hardcore courses, not just a little, not.
Yeah.
And then we're dealing with learning disabilities at the same time.
Look, let's go. I want to fix things. I want to make things better. I'm always going to come from the point of personal freedom. I'm always going to come from the point of give me the freedom to do what I can do well in the marketplace. Just don't hold me back, right? Just don't hold me back.
That's crazy.
And that's why I love teaching entrepreneurship, because if you can give people the skills to succeed in the marketplace, you can teach them how to take care of themselves, their families, and their communities for the rest of their lives. Boom.
Bro, listen, dead on. And like I said, we can end it there. I think this was a perfect example of what education, entrepreneurship, the youth, the elder experience, and the mentorship experience, and a network that could come together and to make some impacts, man. I appreciate you for coming on Early Morning Hustle.
Thank you, CJ, man. It was a good
Anytime, fellas. I love this stuff. And I love talking to people who know what they're talking about, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Care about helping other people, right?
Right.
So love you, man. Love you. Peace.
Peace, man.
Yeah.
See.
That's what it's about, man. That's definitely what it's about.
That's the show, bro.
That's definitely what it's about.
That's the show.
Shout out to Degrassi, man. The show Degrassi.